Hey there and welcome to the channel. Just wanted to do a tire review of the 4 tires that I've owned on my KTM 1090 Adventure R. Starting off with the tires that it came with were the Continental TKC80s, and really love this tire. It's the OG of adventure tires, and one knock on it is it doesn't last that long, but overall really enjoyed how it felt on the road, off the road, and hooked up really well. The next tire that I purchased for my bike was the Dunlop Trailmax Mission. Really weird name, of course, but great tire. Claimed to be a 50-50 tire, and surprisingly, it really did live up to the hype. I thought it was great off-road. Got a little bit loose in some muddy stuff that I would ride on, but overall it did really well. I took it on a really long road trip and handled really nicely on pavement, and thought it wore very well, and overall a great tire. A bit of a surprise because it doesn't really have any obvious knobs on it, so great tire. The next tire, oh man, I love the Tractionator Adventure by Motoz, and what a great tire. Love how it connects your bike to the road and the off-road. Handles surprisingly well on pavement, and then in the off-road is where it really shines. The way the lug design is, the way it connects to the dirt, has a little bit of a sideways slip if you want to get on the throttle, which is more than capable of managing, and great feedback on the tire. Super long lasting. The tire that I had went on the Washington Backcountry Discovery route twice, with pavement both times to get to the beginning of each ride, and man, just love how long it lasted. The only downside is I picked up a nail and just wasn't able to patch it properly, and it was starting to get a little bit worn down, so it was time to get a new tire. So now I'm ready for another tire, which is the Motoz Tractionator Rallz. In Canada, we might call it the Rallz Z, which sounds kind of funny, I'm sure, to Americans. We'll probably call it the Rallz Z at times. But I put this tire on, went on the rim really nice, set the bead really good. Sidewall was stiff, but not overly stiff as when you're installing it yourself. Obviously, I run a tubeless system on my bike, and now that I'm off-road with it, I'm just loving the way it feels. Has a little bit of a sideways slip, but the biggest difference between this and the adventure tire from Motoz is the way the center lugs are lined up. So the center lugs on the Rallz Z or Rallz Z are offset just a little bit. The spacing seems to be a little wider between them, and overall it really feels nice in the dirt. Now, the one downside to it, and of course the Motoz Adventure tire had the same problem, on the pavement it is loud. But of course we're all wearing hearing protection, right guys and girls? Well, I always say to my friends, if your bike is making funny noises or your tires are too loud, you just turn up the music in your earphones. So that's my advice. And yeah, so love the Rallz Z. And man, we just passed a semi-truck on this road, so not so much of an adventure road today. Just so you know where I am, I'm on the road that leads up to Stave Lake, just outside of Mission, BC, and it is the long weekend, and it is busy. I don't think I've ever seen so many vehicles on this road, going in both directions. Lots of dust, a huge variety of vehicles, so staying right was really important as we got up here. And I'm just going to let the camera roll and enjoy the trip up to Stave Lake. So here we are with Stave Lake to the right of us, and this is an interesting duo riding two up on a really funny little quad. Not a lot of power and not a lot of confidence here. So here is an example of riding safe within your limits, which is great. Not really aware that anyone's following them, of course. And then they pull this really interesting move where they actually ride up the left side of the road around a blind corner. And I'm like, I gotta get away from these two guys. So I just boot it past them and get into the clear. And so that was an interesting part of my adventure. But the real reason why I rode up here to Stave Lake is for this little piece of happiness, is being able to ride out towards the lake during high water time. This is all underwater, but now that the lake is a little bit lower, it's just the beginning of August, and you can ride out here, and it's a bit of time to practice riding on the sand, which is always fun. I've got a Motoz Tractionator GPS on the front. I'm going to be changing that out pretty soon because I've got lots of miles on it. It's not a great tire for off-road. It's more of a road tire. And to match the aggressive nature of the Rallz on the rear, I'm going to put a different tire on. I'll show you that in another video. But this is a beautiful part of British Columbia where you can ride right out to the water, and sometimes you're by yourself. This is a long weekend, and in the distance you can see there's lots of boaters and past a ton of vehicles and campers, but not too shabby this time of the day. So here's a good look at it. So this is where I went. This is an app called That Moto app, TMA. You should check it out sometime. It's a great app for motorcyclists made by guys from British Columbia. So check it out. Okay, here's a kind of a first look at my new tire on. This is the Tractionator Adventure Rallz. You can see it's a Rallz because it's got the offset lugs on the back, and it hooked up really nice in the sand and the dirt, and great tire so far, and it's able to take you wherever you want to go. That's Stave Lake.